Hello friends! Finally I arrive at this long overdue vlog, so if you're watching I thank you in advance. I don't quite remember the last time I actually made a vlog, but I do know that it's been a good amount of time, so I'm going to try and cover as much as I can in as concise a manner as I can, because knowing how I am, especially with wine in my system, I could go on forever. But anyway, if you couldn't tell, which I understand because it's really dark, I'm in LA. It's actually almost midnight here, but I'm in LA and it's beautiful out, even though we've been having a ridiculous heat wave for the past week, thanks to global warming. The only reason it's so nice out right now because it's almost midnight and the sun has been absent for a good, 4 hours. I think that's pretty concerning, but that's not the topic of this vlog. Topic of this vlog is about my move, and I'm going to try and detail it as best I can and as concisely as I can, because obviously, I have so many friends and family who want to hear about it, but I think any human being understands that telling the same story over and over again is terribly redundant, and there comes a certain point where you're like, fuck, I don't want to fucking tell this again, so I'm going to tell it once and for all in this vlog. So if you're watching, thank you, and forgive my crass language, but it's necessary. So it's about, it's almost Friday, we're assuming it's midnight. I've been in LA for about a week and a half now. I'm gonna make a separate video eventually describing how I feel about LA, because trying to sum it all up into one video would be way too much. But anyway, I've been here for a week and a half. I want to backtrack to what started this all. And I'll say what started this all was honestly the coronavirus. So if you know me, or if you've known me for a long time, you'll know that for years I've always dreamt of living here in LA. The ambition has changed over the years, of course, but when I was 12 years old, it was to be a pop star. When I was 17 years old, it was to attend UCLA. And I don't even know what I fucking wanted to study back then. But I just wanted to be here. I always felt such a kinship. I came out here for the first time in 2015 in April, and I feel like that was a very fortuitous reason, because originally I was planning to come out here for San Diego Comic-Con, because as many of you know, I used to cosplay, but I didn't make the ridiculous queue wait list that they had, because it's like the Hunger Games. Like, you don't know, it's so selective. Disclaimer, I've never seen the Hunger Games. I just know as a cinephile that it's a ripoff of the Japanese film Battle Royale. But anyway, your chances are slim in doing whatever out here. And so, I ended up going to UMass Amherst, which is funny because it was the last place I wanted to go and I cried about it, but I had a decent time. And then I graduated and I went right back into retail because I was working at GameStop still, which had been my job prior to even starting college. And I advanced from like sales associate to like management, and that was kind of cool. But as we know, everything's going digital and the company was going to shit, and I wasn't nearly getting paid enough. It was actually criminal what I was getting paid for the amount of work I was doing. But because I had some friends that went into the banking industry, I submitted a resume for the hell of it. I got offered a job, and so I took the job at Citizens Bank. And as many of you know and recall, I was working at the bank for a good while. Now, things had an upset this spring, even before this spring, I would say end of February, when COVID hit. And initially, I opted to take an unpaid leave on account of my father. Hi, Doug, if you're watching this. My father is a true warrior. He battled and surmounted not just leukemia, but also lymphoma. And, you know, when you have somebody that means so much to you in your life that's gone through that, you don't fuck around with chances, especially when there's a pandemic going around that is especially, you know, that poses an special threat to those who are immunocompromised. So, yeah, I told my work basically I wasn't going to come in because when you're working as a teller, a glorified teller in a bank, you're touching money all day, you're dealing with people, there's just constant contact, constant interaction with germs, and even if my own immune system were immaculate, you know, it doesn't rule out the fact that I could pass it on to somebody else. So I took a break initially. But admittedly, there were also other reasons. So come May, I decided to part ways with the bank. And this was, you know, smack dab in the middle of quarantine. So it offered me a lot of time to reflect and to grow and to just, I had a lot of time in my hands, which is not easy. It's never been easy for someone like me who's so, you know, I'm very type A, I'm very always on the move, like I have to be productive. So spending most of my time at home and trying to occupy myself was very challenging. You know, I would do my workouts and then I'd be like, you know, fuck right now, or fuck, what am I gonna do? And I found myself going back to film, which has always been, for years now, since really the beginning of college into high school, my saving grace. And so I'd lose myself in watching old film, you know, and I don't know how to put it to words. I think if I told it verbatim, a lot of you would look at me and think I'm insane. Does that matter? No, but I'm trying to keep this simple, and I'm looking at my runtime live right now, and I'm already at 8 minutes, so I'm going to dumb it down. There are a lot of things that, personal things I would say, including dreams, just realizations that made me realize, you know, you're almost 25. You need to be making a decision in what you want to do in life. And by going to banking, which was something I never wanted to fucking do in the first place, I only did it because I was like, oh, like, it's going to pay decently well. And there's people I like that work at the company. You know, it was almost like staying in your own comfort zone, which is fine, I think, for a certain amount of time. But by the time I left in May, it was 2 years of me working for the company. And I don't announce those years. They were 2 very valuable years. I learned a lot of things, a lot of skills. But at the same time, it was like, all right, it's time to move on. I think that especially in this country, there's a very big pressure to pursue a career that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Lucrative. That's the word I'm looking for. A career that's lucrative, even if you don't necessarily like it. So a lot of people go into engineering or coding or tech. And I guess I had that similar mindset for a long time, because I remember at the beginning of college switching into kinesiology or physical therapy. And I hated it, so I transferred out within a week. And even after graduating, I thought maybe I can build a career within banking, But I wasn't happy. And you know what? If you can stomach that and push aside your passions, that's the kind of discipline I, in the end, can admire, for sure. But I can't do that. I feel like I need to chase what's in my heart. And what's in my heart is, I'm an artist. I like to pursue cinema. I like to analyze it. I like to dissect it. I like to bring it to a new light. As a lesbian, I like to analyze, queer context that may have been lying behind the surface. To kind of unearth things, almost like an archaeologist of like film for like gays. Which is like totally absurd to some people, and I totally get that. And that's fine. If you don't understand it, I don't expect you to. You're not me. But I realized over quarantine, when I had all this time to myself, that fuck, I don't want to be doing something that I'm gonna be miserable, with my whole life. I'd rather, not be making as much money and be pursuing a more authentic and enjoyable life in regards to who I am and what I'm interested in. So here I am in LA. And I realized I haven't even touched upon the road trip, so I guess I'm going to just say that for another vlog, but, I want to stress immensely before anyone comes for me that I had no doubt this is going to be an extremely difficult, transition. I didn't expect to move here and get a fucking job right away, even in, like, retail, Because I realized we're in the middle of a pandemic, and, well, there's a lot of people in LA. There's a lot of people that may be better qualified for a retail job than me right now. I'm in a weird spot because, I might be overqualified for a lot of retail positions, but I'm underqualified for, like, the film positions I want to take. But, it's a matter of time and growth and networking, and I'm very much happy to make that investment and to work toward it as a long-term goal. Life's too short. I don't want to be imprisoned doing something I don't feel strongly about. My entire life throughout, whether it be in school or jobs, I've been told, Nora or Eleanor or Ellie or whatever the fuck they wanted to call me, you have so much potential, you're so bright, but you don't care, so you don't do a good job. And I can't help that. I've tried very much so to apply myself and to care, but when I'm not into something, I'm not into something. Call it stubborn, call it what you will, but it also works in my favor because when I'm into something, I am 200% into something. So I do know in my heart that I made the right decision, even if it will be a long and tumultuous ride. But if you listen to this, I appreciate it and I thank you. Hopefully, I planned on talking about my road trip tonight, but I ended up just being philosophical. I will update part 2 eventually, which will be all about the road trip, which I did in 4 days with my best friend Sally. Maybe that one, I was thinking of trying to make it more like a modern YouTube video where like I edit things and I jump cut to videos and, fancy shit, but who knows. I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of illiterate with technology now. And I'm only a fucking quarter of a century year old, but Murphy's Law, or is it Murphy's Law? I don't think it's Murphy's Law, but there's some law about how technology, it just gets more and more advanced, almost like a half-life. So, with that being said, I'm going to finish my sangria here that no one else in the house is drinking. And I will upload another vlog soon, so if you watch this, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'll be in touch. I'm hoping to continue on a regular basis with these vlogs because I think it's the easiest way to update everybody without having to give the same monologue over and over and over again to 20 different people. And don't get me wrong, it's very flattering that, many people take an interest in me, but you also have to consider it's very draining, and telling the same thing over and over again for someone like me, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I, it's almost like challenging my insanity. But if you watch this, again, thank you. I know those who took the time to really do understand how I function as a human being, and you guys are the best, and I couldn't have done this without you, so cheers, and I'll talk to you soon.